Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
I think the American people understand. I have flaws. Michelle will tell you. One of them is not that I'm unwilling to compromise. I've been willing to compromise my entire political career. And I don't believe that I have the answers to everything, and it's my way or the highway. But I'm not going to breach a basic principle that would weaken the presidency, change our democracy, and do great damage to ordinary people, in order to go along with what the House Republicans are talking about.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Steve Malzberg Show. That's the comedy portion of the show for today, listening to Barack Obama. First of all, admit his flaws. He started to say he may have some flaws, but then he said he did. Anyway, welcome aboard. We have a lot to get to. Any moment, Barack Obama expected to nominate the new chief of the Fed, and it should be Janet Yellen, who was by Bernanke's side throughout his tenure. So when that becomes official, we will let you know. But the American public, Mr. President, is on to your flaws. They know about your flaws. They understand it, because even before you admitted to your flaws yesterday at that press conference, and that's what that soundbite was from, your approval rating, Mr. President, is down to 37%. 37% approval rating for the President of the United States of America. That is pathetic. Now, just as a by the way, it's an AP story, and the AP headline is poll. GOP gets the blame in shutdown. Okay? 7 paragraphs down the story. 7 paragraphs they come up with. Guess what they come up with? That most Americans disapprove of the way Obama's handling his job. The poll suggests with 53% unhappy and 37% approving of his performance. 7th paragraph. No. That's the lead. When do you recall a president's approval rating being 37%? Maybe George Bush in the middle of the financial crisis? I don't know. But that is very, very telling. And kudos to you, the American people. Now, yesterday, we talked about this. Yesterday, a bunch of illegal aliens and a bunch of congressmen and women, some Republicans there too, I'm sorry to say, had the president open the mall so these illegals could march on the mall and these congressmen could speak to the illegals in a pro-immigration reform rally. While the World War II Memorial and our national parks and everything else remained closed. That's who this president is. Understand that. Make no mistake about that. And Nancy Pelosi took to the podium at this illegal alien rally, and she thanked the president. Give a listen to cut 21.
I want to join my colleague who thanked the president for enabling us to gather here, and also thank the president that the veterans were able to gather at the World War II Memorial.
There she is, the former Speaker of the House, thanking the president for allowing this rally to take place, and she falsely claims that the World War II Memorial was open also, and she has to know that's a lie. It absolutely has not been open. It's been gated, it's been chained, it's not open. Just, it's incredible. And then we move on to the issue, ladies and gentlemen, of the military families who have lost loved ones. I believe there are some 20 military families since October 1st who have lost loved ones. Normally, they get $100,000 to help with expenses, and they get flown to Dover Air Force Base on the government's dime so they could be there when the coffins draped with the American flag return their loved ones who have made the ultimate sacrifice return home. Okay? Well, yesterday, the Pentagon decided there's no funding, there's no provision for funding that $100,000 payment to these families. Now, the Pentagon, in my view, acted politically. The Republicans, and I had Congressman Gohmert on yesterday, and he said, we passed that. We passed that. That was included in the pay the military bill, the piecemeal bill, you might call it, that was actually passed by the House, the Senate, and signed by the president to keep paying our troops. Louis Gohmert and every Republican I heard today thought that in that bill, this item was addressed. But the Pentagon said, oh, we don't see it in here, so we're not paying. Again, cause as much pain as possible. But this isn't the first time. Back in April 8th, 2011, headline, CBS News, military won't pay death benefits during government shutdown. The Pentagon said Friday, this is back in 2011, the $100,000 death benefit to the family members of the military killed in the line of duty will not be paid if the government shuts down. Now, the government did not shut down in 2011, but there was, threats and talk of it. And so what did the Pentagon say even back then? Well, if you shut down, we're gonna make the people who lost loved ones suffer and pay. Under Obama, they said it. So should we be shocked and surprised that this is how they interpret a CR for the troops? That they purposely left out the deceased from that bill in their interpretation? They could just as easily have said, hey, let's include it. But no, they want to cause the pain. So you know what happened today? The House voted 425 to nothing to pay those benefits. But in the meantime, the Pentagon went out and contracted with a private firm, Fisher House. So now Fisher House is writing the checks to these families, which, I don't have an objection to if that'll speed it up. But now that the House passed this, where's Harry Reid? Why hasn't the Senate already voted on it? And the president signed it? Because they don't care. They don't care. They don't care about the kids with cancer. They don't care about our national monuments and parks. They don't care about anything except getting their way. That's why. This is a disgrace. Again, kudos to Rich, or associate producer, for finding this article from April 8th of 2011. The Pentagon threatened to do the same exact thing that they have done this time around. That's the first thing they threatened. Well, if you shut down the government, we're not going to pay $100,000 to the families who lost their loved ones. And now they did it for real during this shutdown. It's a disgrace. We're coming back, and we're going to talk with, ladies and gentlemen, former Congressman Pete Hoekstra, and he will join us, former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, 855-777-9660, Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. Really? Yeah. They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare's Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family.
Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already an Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today. Go to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
What is LigNet? LigNet is knowledge. LigNet is power. LigNet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is LigNet? LigNet is confidential. LigNet is sensitive. LigNet is security. What is LigNet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, you are back with the Steve Malzberg Show, and here is former Congressman Pete Hoekstra, of course, the former chair of the House Intelligence Committee and the author of a great piece that was just published on FoxNews.com on the outrage on the way the Obama administration and his team are handling this shutdown. And Congressman, welcome again, sir. Always a pleasure.
Steve, always good to be with you. Thank you.
All right, now, you and I spoke last week, and you were there on the Mall. You were there at the World War II Memorial. You witnessed what took place, these World War II veterans having to break down the barricades, basically, and with the help of some Republican congressmen and Congresswoman Bachmann and others. And yesterday, and since then, they've closed that memorial. Yesterday, Nancy Pelosi, we just played a bite of her, thanking the president at the rally for illegal immigrants for opening the mall for this rally. And she alluded to the fact that we're thankful that the World War II Memorial is open too, but it's not.
No, it's not. And the other thing, Steve, it's very, very sad. It's not only the World War II Memorial, but, if you cross the river, you also come to the Iwo Jima Memorial. They haven't put barricades around it. But again, in a very mean-spirited way, there was a group of Florida World War II vets coming in on an honor flight. Some of them had landed on Iwo Jima. They wanted to go to Iwo Jima, but you know what the Park Service did? they barricaded the parking lot.
Oh,
so there's no place for the buses to come and unload these vets. It is mean-spirited. It is disrespectful. It is callous, and there's a whole lot of more words I could say that you can't publish, you can't put on TV, and you can't put on radio. These are folks who, fought. Their colleagues died for our country, and this president is closing the memorials. But hey, if Nancy Pelosi wants to have a rally, hey, open it up. Katie, bar the door. Put up the stage and all of these types of things, and make sure that Nancy Pelosi can have her rally on the mall. It's absolutely outrageous.
It is outrageous, and also, of course, the cemetery in Normandy, but also. And this is something that the Pentagon threatened to do back in 2011. And I have the piece here from CBS News saying in 2011 that if there's a shutdown in the next couple of days, then we will not pay the families of those whose loved ones made the ultimate sacrifice. We will not pay the $100,000. Now, I had Congressman Gohmert on yesterday, right after this story broke, that the Pentagon has decided that they couldn't pay the $100,000 yesterday for this time around either. And he said, no, that was addressed in the bill that we passed to keep paying the military and taking care of the military. They all assumed that it was taken care of in that bill. The Pentagon purposely, I believe, based on their warnings and cries the last time around, and based on Obama's actions this time around, purposely made this an issue where they could have easily have just glossed over it.
Earlier this week, Secretary of Defense welcomed back 400,000 civilian employees, to come back to work at the Pentagon, and he can't pay the $100,000 that these families are entitled to. You've probably met with some of these families. I tried to meet with every single family who lost a loved one, either in Iraq or in Afghanistan. These families, every time I went in, I thought, oh man, this is going to be hard. They may be angry or whatever, but man, they were awesome. True American patriot families. They'd say their loved one went over there because they wanted to fight, they wanted to keep America safe. And I'd sometimes walk away embarrassed, saying, I thought this was going to be hard, and these people, they were more comfort to me than I was to them. And now we're saying, your son died, your husband died, your mom died, or whatever, and we're not going to give you the $100,000. The next thing that you'll find is, who knows, maybe Secretary Hagel will say, oh, by the way, we also can't afford to buy the American flag. We can't send the color guard out anymore. We can't, Steve, this is America. This is totally un-American. We are a compassionate country. We are a creative company. If Secretary Hagel, if the president wanted to find a way to make this work, they could have done it. But the bottom line is they're looking for ways to inflict pain, not to alleviate pain. And they're picking on the most vulnerable people today, 95-year-old World War II vets, families that are grieving because they have lost a loved one. I can't think of a sadder example of behavior by a president. We can have policy differences, but man, let's not take it out on the most vulnerable at a time where they have these huge needs. Like I said, I've met with these families. They are true heroes. Their loved ones who died are true heroes, and this is the thanks that we get. As a nation, we should be embarrassed and ashamed.
I couldn't agree more. Now we got Fisher House picking up the tab. The House of Representatives passed this 425-0 today. I don't know what the Senate is doing that they haven't passed it yet, and the president hasn't signed it. We're talking to Congressman Pete Hoekstra here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let me ask you, as I've asked several people, we've seen the actions of this president, and I think this is a very different situation than a Clinton and a Reagan and a Bush. Not just because he says he won't talk or negotiate about the debt or the shutdown, and lies about it and says it's never been done before, but because I don't think this man is beyond inflicting pain upon this country. Because I think a little bit of him thinks that maybe we deserve a little pain because, the Constitution's a flawed document, the whole thing. How far is he going to go?
Who knows? It is unprecedented. Bill Clinton he did not have a tenure when it came down to politics. He didn't try any of this stuff. And then he wouldn't highlight it and all of these types of things. I got to believe that the House and Senate wouldn't highlight it and all of these types of things. I got to believe that the House and Senate
off the cliff with a 37% approval rating today by AP.
Yeah, they're going to follow them right off the cliff, and I think as people start seeing this, they're starting to recognize that this is a president who doesn't want to work it out, and they're seeing it by the examples that you've brought up. What he's doing with and the American people are, by and large, they're all saying, all these guys are bums, but because they can't get this worked out. But clearly the decisions that the president and his administration are making are clearly the decisions that the president and his administration are making are.
Obama couldn't buy the media coverage and support that they've gotten, almost 100% media support, and still, while they blame Republicans like 62%, they still blame Democrats like 58%. So the Democrats it's not working out for them the way they figured it would.
No, it's not. It's very different than 1995, because this president is acting and behaving very differently than 1995. Bill Clinton, showed leadership, as did Newt Gingrich. But they got down and said, this is really hard, but we're going to work it. Right. The other thing you didn't mention, Steve, not only is this
20 seconds, Congressman. Go ahead.
He's hurting our veterans. We also have the Secretary of the Treasury trying to panic our financial markets. Rather than offering some level of confidence, he's trying to talk the markets down.
And Moody's said that's not the case. We would not default. Hey, Congressman, got to go. Thank you as always.
Always good to talk to you. Thanks,
Congressman Pete Hoekstra on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV, and radio.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is
loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
When you were younger, you probably never considered your heart health. But cardiologist Dr. Chauncey Crandall knows from experience that taking steps to care for your heart becomes more crucial as the decades pass, if you want to keep this vital organ ticking smoothly for years to come. That's why Dr. Crandall recently developed Cardio Advanced, a nutritional supplement containing 12 special ingredients, all selected to help improve and maintain your heart health and normal cholesterol levels. The flagship of this exclusive formula, esterified plant sterols, may help lower your risk of heart disease when taken as part of a diet low in cholesterol and fat. And great news, now you have the opportunity to try a 30-day supply of Cardio Advanced. Simply cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act right now, you'll also receive a free doctor's guide to a healthy heart as a special bonus. Please visit cardioadvanced.com/radio for complete details on claiming your 30-day bottle of Cardio Advanced and free report. That's cardioadvanced.com/radio. Life is too precious to ignore your heart health. Visit cardioadvanced.com/radio now while supplies last.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. We are scheduled to, let's see, we're scheduled to be joined right now by Christopher Parker, professor at the University of Washington in Seattle and co-author of Change They Can't Believe In, The Tea Party and Reactionary Politics in America, a not too flattering view of the Tea Party. So I don't know. Now he's on the phone with us saying he might not be able to do it. No, look, hey, I'll just tell you I'll just make my points and tell you how he wrote about the Tea Party, and he won't be here to, I won't say the name of the book again, that's for sure. And he won't be here to have a nice conversation with me. I hope he does. I hope he can do it. Let me know, guys, as soon as you can. He's not going to do it? Any reason? If you're on the phone with him, we could have done half the interview already. I mean, he's running out. Doesn't have a cell phone? Okay. All right, we'll try to book it for another time, but it might have been nice. What's that? Yeah, I would say it's very rude of him. Absolutely. Okay, well, here's a guy who thinks the Tea Party is racist, sexist, xenophobic, homophobic, anti-Obama, and not just anti-Obama, but I guess anti-Obama because he's, can't stand a black man in the White House, anti-Obama, that kind of thing. So I was looking forward to this, but he wants to do it another time. You know what? I got an idea for another. I mean, we just had the guy on the phone, right? We just talked to him. All right. He thought, all right, tell Chad and have him rebook it. I was going to. All right. He thought, all right, tell Chad and have him rebook it. I was going to accommodate. I mean, he could have given us, 5 or 6 or 10 minutes before he ran out. But that being the case, having said that and all that kind of thing, we'll just we'll get him a new time slot, because I really want to talk about this. I really want to talk about it. In his book, they do surveys and models and all these kinds of cockamamie things, and they come out. Their methodology comes out basically with the fact that he says if you look at the historical and social scientific literature on American national identity, the portrait that emerges is mainly white, male, middle class, straight, at least a bit educated, and a bit older. So, and he's talking about, look who rose during this period of the Tea Party. Nancy Pelosi was the first female Speaker of the House. Barney Frank, openly gay, wielded real power. 2 women, one of them was a Latina, went to the Supreme Court. Undocumented workers, as he calls them, a.k.a. illegal aliens, have gotten a ton of attention. There's been a rise of same-sex rights. So he's saying that all these things, plus, of course, the black man in the White House, just pushed these people over the edge. They had to find like-minded, hateful people, so they formed the like-minded, hateful, xenophobic, racist, sexist, homophobic, anti-Obama Tea Party. You get it? Now you see where we're headed with this. So that's why I was looking forward to talking to the guy. So we'll try it tomorrow. I mean, what can I tell you? All right, so there's a couple of sound bites I need you to hear right here. Since and if you're welcome to join me. Folks, I would love to hear from you on what this president has done. I want to know from you what you think the president is capable of doing going forward. Is he capable of shutting down of having the debt ceiling not being raised? Is he capable of, if that happens, not targeting his payments to meet our debt obligations on our bonds, pay Social Security, but just say, oh, we have to even out all the payments across the board and basically come up short for all of them? Is he capable of that? Is he capable of not negotiating until that happens? He is the first president to ever say he will not negotiate on the debt ceiling or on a budget. Now, let me give you an alternative view. So 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. You might have heard of a little financial institution called Moody's. Okay. Well, Moody's, one of the nation's top credit rating agencies, says that the U.S. Treasury Department is likely to continue paying interest on the government debt, even if Congress fails to lift the limit on borrowing next week, which would preserve our AAA credit rating. Now, that's not what our fear-mongering president has said. That's not what our fear-mongering Secretary of the Treasury has said. Maybe because they don't intend to do it. They will have the ability to pay the interest on our bonds. They may choose not to do it. Just like they have the ability to help kids with cancer right now, fund the NIH. They refuse to do it. They can open our national monuments and parks. They refuse to do it. So that's why I ask you what you think this president's capable of doing. How far is he capable of taking us? How much punishment is he capable of inflicting? I think a lot. I think a lot of punishment when he could avoid it. Now, here's what Moody's also says. Moody's Investor Service offers, quote, answers to frequently asked questions about the government shutdown and the federal debt limit. And President Obama has said unless Congress acts to raise the $16.7 trillion limit by next Thursday, the nation will be at risk of default. Moody's says, and this is a memo dated October 7th. Okay, so it's being circulated on Capitol Hill. So when you hear some Republicans have said, this isn't that big a deal, we're not going to default, this might be one avenue that they're getting their information from. We believe the government would continue to pay interest and principal on its debt, even in the event that the debt limit is not raised, leaving its creditworthiness intact, the memo from Moody's says. The debt limit restrictions government expenditures to the debt limit restricts government expenditures to the amount of its incoming revenues. The debt limit restricts government expenditures to the amount of its incoming revenues. So we will have money coming in. Okay? It does not prohibit, the debt limit does not prohibit the government from servicing its debt. There is no direct connection between the debt limit and a default. Moody's, you think they know something? And a default. Moody's, you think they know something? And now I'm shocked earlier today he didn't win the Nobel Prize for Physics. I'm sure he's going to win the Nobel Prize on economics, but, you know, maybe Moody's has a leg up on him. You think? Maybe a little bit? They know a little more than Barack Obama? Give your kid a breathalyzer if they can't breathe? The Moody's memo goes on to argue that the situation is actually much less serious than 2011, when the nation last faced a pitched battle over the debt limit. The budget deficit was considerably larger in 2011 than it currently is, so the magnitude of the necessary spending cuts needed after October 17th is lower than it was then, the memo says. The Treasury Department did not immediately respond to requests for comment on what Moody's has to say. So there you go. So, again, it appears we're being lied to by this administration. We're being scared by this administration. They want to inflict pain where they can, make it look like they're going to inflict more pain. Now, I got to say, just because Moody's says they will be able to meet their obligations doesn't mean Barack Obama will meet our obligations. Doesn't mean the Treasury Department will. They will have the ability to, but again, it comes down to inflicting pain. We know they could fund the kids with cancer. We know they could fund the opening of the monuments. We know they could fund the veteran services, but they refuse. So I put nothing, zero, I'm holding up 2 zeros, past this administration and what they're willing to do to this country as far as inflicting pain on it. Pain that might last for a long, long time. I'm telling you, this is not Bill Clinton. This is not George Bush. This is not Ronald Reagan. This is not Jimmy Carter. This is Barack Obama, who has a different view of the world and of America, and always has. 855-777-9660. Jason is in the great state of Kentucky, where if you log on and buy health insurance, they reserve the right to send your information overseas. Hello, Jason. How are you, sir?
Hey, Steve, I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for calling.
Fantastic. Listen, you've got a valid point. I've been listening off and on when I can get service, when I can't. I don't think this government's capable of anything. I believe that they're running around in circles. This fear-mongering that they're trying to put on us as the American people is obnoxious, absurd, and completely uncalled for. People are actually buying into some of this. I've listened to people that have come on, and I'm not going to name the news stations in particular, but, you know, the right side, the left side, and your conservatives, I think they're all kind of in the same ballgame now. I don't think the debt ceiling is going to even impact us for one reason. And I say that because I think that this is just another charade, another game. Obama passes the buck to Harry Reid and says, I'm going to let you take my card, you play it with John Boehner, and we're going to play this deck back and forth. People don't understand that what happened at Lake Mead and what happened at the Lincoln Memorial, all that stuff is to suppress people and make them think, oh, my goodness, you know, the government shutdown is so horrendous. You know, we've got, 83% of the government still up and running, and the world hasn't came to an end yet.
Well, Jason, you remember sequester. We had Janet Napolitano predicting that there would be 3-hour lines at the airports even before sequester hit. And, of course, that never happened. Then we had all these dire predictions about closing down the government. How would we function? And, of course, we're functioning very, very well, thank you very much, for the most part. And we would function much better if the Democrats and Obama would sign the legislation that was passed by the House Republicans to keep, to fund the National Institute of Health, the monuments, et cetera. And now we're being told that it'll be catastrophic for America if the debt ceiling isn't raised. Now, understand this. We have money coming in. Anybody in their home who has a family and an income, if that income gets changed because you're going to be making less, you're going to start looking at what you could cut first. You will pay the mortgage, the rent, the food first, medicine first, because those are the most important things. You'll prioritize cable TV, your cell phone usage, etc. But Barack Obama and his Treasury Secretary are running around saying, oh, you can't prioritize. Now, they can.
But the Treasury Secretary couldn't even answer the question.
I know, but here's the thing. Here's what we have to watch out for, in my opinion. They can prioritize, but will they? Or will they claim, just like Obama lies and says, oh, this has never happened before, the debt ceiling being held hostage? Sure it has. It's been held up based on negotiations and agreement. So now he'll probably say, well, I couldn't prioritize. But I don't trust him.
I don't trust him either. And I can tell you something else. It's funny that you brought that up, and the terminology that's used strikes me, because you used the word hostage.
Well, I said that to quote him.
He's right, exactly. And you know what? If one of my children was at school and made that comment,
they'd get kicked out. They'd get kicked out of school. You're absolutely right.
Right. The right side are extremists, and they're man, there's so many other things that they've thrown out there in the wind that people are picking up on. And are they that dumb to think that the American people's level of naivety is to the course of just dumbed-down cavemen? I mean, not saying that the majority are up there in the 160 range in IQ levels, but I am saying that we can see through this smoke and mirrors and this cloak and dagger game that they're playing with our tax money. We pay them, okay? Why? I don't know at this point.
Well,
we paid their salaries.
Jason,
and Obamacare is a freaking.
Oh well, that's
man.
You realize that Barack Obama was not asked one question at his press conference about Obamacare. He was talking for over an hour, not one question. Hey, Jason, thank you. Great call. Call again. Got to go. We're going to St. Louis, home of the Cardinals, who have a Game 5, if I'm not mistaken, today or tonight against the Pittsburgh Pirates to see who will advance to the NLCS to take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Hello, Bruce. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Steve. Thank you for taking my call. A couple of things. Where are the veterans groups? Where are the veterans that have fought? Where are the veterans that have been in the service and are now out of the service and retired? Where are the veterans groups? Why aren't they in Washington right now protesting against closing down of all of our monuments to our fallen heroes? Why haven't they stepped forward? What are they afraid of? That Obama will audit them or something? They need to come forward. They need to go to Washington. They need to stand up to this dictator and say, we will no longer tolerate this.
Well, they do need to stand up and say that. I think, it's hardest, I guess, for veterans. A lot of veterans of them, especially the older ones who are most directly affected with the memorials, Vietnam, World War II. They're up in age. It might not be that easy for them to travel and organize. But certainly, I think that, I'd like to say the point has been made. But you had Nancy Pelosi standing there yesterday on the mall, which was open for her and her illegal alien friends, saying that we're happy that the World War II memorial is also open. That is a lie. That is just a lie. They look at you and they lie like they breathe. Hey, go ahead, Bruce. What?
Absolutely. The second thing I wanted to say, the reason the Democrats have not passed a budget since Obama came to office, and they passed one the first year, was every year that they do not pass the budget, the original stimulus money went to the baseline budget. It stays in the budget because they have not passed another one. So every year they get almost another $1 trillion to spend. And that's why he wants a debt limit increase, because he wants to spend us so deep in debt that we could never, ever repay it and take this country completely down the tube.
All right. Bruce, I appreciate your call. Thank you very much. All right, folks, 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. In the next hour, Senator Mike Lee from Utah will join us, and David Bossie, the president and chairman of the board for Citizens United. The the president had something to say about Citizens United at his press conference yesterday. So we'll get his reaction to that and the shutdown and more. All that ahead right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now, Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now.
800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Constipation, gas, bloating. Most people suffer through. But now there's a simple solution for occasional digestive problems called Bactipro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Bactipro is the fiber probiotic formula that supports healthy digestive and immune health. And it comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. Bactipro contains 6 powerful strains of beneficial probiotic bacteria, dietary fiber, and bacteria-nourishing prebiotics, plus powerful antioxidants. Now you can receive a 30-day supply of Bactipro. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit Bactipro.com/special. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Improve your digestive health now. Learn how you can receive your 30-day supply at Bactipro.com/special. That's BACTIPRO.com/special. Bactipro.com/special.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
Yeah, that's me. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. 855-777-9660. Let's go down. That's me. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. 855-777-9660. Let's go down. Just what I think of when I think of Florida. And let's go to Paul down in Miami, the home of our great affiliate, It's just what I think of when I think of Florida. And let's go to Paul down in Miami, the home of our great affiliate,
Quite conspiritualist, but this is what I believe he's trying to do. He's trying to divide.
And you're talking about the president.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, how far I think he's going to take this shutdown, cause so much havoc and so much division to take this shutdown, cause so much havoc and so much division. He suspend the Constitution and rule by decree. That's what I think he's going to do. I think he's going to say, we can't figure this out. I think we should suspend the Constitution and go all the way. And this is what I believe he's trying to do, is just divide us so far that either you got these truck drivers that are going into Washington. People are getting either you got these truck drivers that are going into Washington. People are getting. He's going to turn around and say, "Oh, we can't have this. We're going to have to just take over."
Well, I don't know that he could do that based on the truckers.
I'm a conspiritualist. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, Paul. You mean that flawed document, the Constitution?
Well,
that's what he called it, a flawed document. Hey, Paul, listen. At the top of the next hour, I need you to keep listening. Top of the next hour, before we get to Senator Lee, I'm going to play an exchange the president had with Mark Knoller during his press conference, and you got to hear it. Wait, I'm out of time. I'm out of time, Paul, but you got to hear it. So stay where you are. The Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Obamacare. President Obama's massive healthcare law is taking effect this year. With over 15,000 pages of regulations, few even know what it means. Now, the Obamacare Survival Guide by Nick Tate gives you the shocking facts about this law. It's a step-by-step guide on how you can protect yourself. Already a New York Times bestseller, every American needs to get the Obamacare Survival Guide and find out about the new taxes, hidden fees, fines, Medicare changes, business rules, and why doctor shortages are likely. Donald Trump says the Obamacare Survival Guide is a must-read for anyone worried about getting good health care for themselves or their employees. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's at bookstores, or get our special offer at Obamacare311.com and you'll save $15. Go now to Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Do you suffer from joint discomfort? Contrary to what the experts may say, achy joints do not have to be a normal part of aging. Holistic doctor David Brownstein challenged conventional thinking to focus on natural solutions for joint health. As a result, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Limbex, the premium nutritional supplement specifically formulated to support healthy joints and connective tissue. It's a new joint breakthrough formula containing 11 hand-picked nutrients. Learn more at limbexjoint.com/special and take the 30-day Healthy Joint Challenge. That's a 30-day supply of the Limbex Joint Supplement. All you pay is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Happy, Healthy Joints at Any Age. You can do something about joint discomfort and flexibility. Learn how you can try it for 30 days at limbexjoint.com/special. That's LIMBEX joint.com/special. limbexjoint.com/special.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Congress and President Obama continue to bicker over who is to blame for the government shutdown. And then there's this. The Pentagon says it cannot give financial assistance to relatives of soldiers killed in combat during this shutdown. Well, today, the remains of 4 fallen Americans arrived at Dover Air Force Base. Families of U.S. servicemen and women killed on active duty normally get $100,000 for travel and funeral expenses, but that money is cut off now because of this budget deadlock in Congress. Private groups are paying the expenses for these grieving families, and House Republicans are expected to vote today on a measure to restore those funds. But at a hearing this morning, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs said a total of more than $6 billion in veterans payments could be in jeopardy.
If the shutdown does not end in the coming weeks, VA will not be able to assure delivery of 1 November checks to more than 5.18 million beneficiaries.
Meanwhile, both sides remain dug in. Republicans are insisting on negotiating changes to the new health care law before passing any kind of funding bill. And Democrats and President Obama say any talks must come later. If Congress does not agree to a deal to increase the nation's debt limit before October 17th, the government will run out of money to pay its bills. Turning now to Egypt, where violence between supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi and the military continues to get worse. And there are new reports now that the White House is planning on rolling back U.S. financial and military aid to the country. That move is in response to the military coup that removed Morsi from office and the fighting that has followed. However, there is expected to be continued support for the military's counterterrorism efforts in the Sinai Peninsula, also continued aid to ensure that Egypt upholds its peace treaty with Israel, and more non-military aid to support the promotion of democracy. Meanwhile, back in D.C., President Obama announces today that he is nominating Janet Yellen to be the next head of the Federal Reserve. As vice chair of the central bank under current chair Ben Bernanke, Yellen has supported policies to keep interest rates low. Analysts say her nomination could also help ease concerns over the debt ceiling debate in Washington. And police have arrested 2 more people in the case of that motorcycle road rage incident in New York City, and that includes an NYPD undercover detective. Investigators say that undercover detective was off duty. His name is Wojciech Brayskov. He's a 10-year veteran of the NYPD. Yesterday, he surrendered and now faces riot and criminal mischief charges. Investigators also say they now have video of him pounding on the SUV as other motorcyclists beat up the driver. Brayskoff's attorney says his client only witnessed other bikers attacking that vehicle. Sources say other New York City police officers may have been riding with that pack of motorcyclists as well. And coming up next, a Newsmax exclusive with Republican Congresswoman Lynn Jenkins, why she says ending the stalemate in Washington is entirely up to President Obama and Democrats. Plus, a store clerk takes matters into his own hands when a robber tries to hold him up. See what happens next when this clerk whips out his machete.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming. The shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
And welcome back. Check out this video recently released by police in Suffolk County, New York. A robber walks into a convenience store with a gun, but the clerk isn't having it. He pulls out a machete and then goes after the crook, chasing him off. This actually happened back in 2011, but police are now asking for help trying to identify this robber, who may be connected to more recent incidents in that same area. And as the government shutdown continues, the federal debt limit approaches, and some are calling that a more pressing matter. But during a Newsmax exclusive, Congresswoman Lynn Jenkins says even with the debate, or the deadline rather, approaching, Democrats still won't play ball.
Right now, as I said, it's not the time that's the problem. It's the fact that no one will sit down and have a conversation with us about how we move forward to solve this nation's fiscal mess.
Well, this has been your Newsmax Now update for October the 9th. I'm John Bachman. Take care.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Mark Nolan.
Mr. President, while you're waiting for the shutdown to end, why is it that you can't go along with any of the bills the House is passing, funding the FDA and FEMA where you were yesterday, and veterans benefits and Head Start? You've got to be tempted to sign those bills and get funding to those programs that you support.
Okay, good question, right? Welcome back, Steve Malzberg Show. Hour number 2. Wednesday edition. And coming up in just a few minutes, Senator Mike Lee, Republican from Utah. But great question at the press conference by Mark Nola, right? Why don't you just sign these little pieces of legislation passed by the, well, Senate would have to vote on them and pass them, but just tell Harry Reid to pass them. You could fund Head Start. You could fund the Kids for Cancer. You could fund the Veterans Administration. Why not? Get a load of this answer. You know what chutzpah is? This is chutzpah. Here we go.
Of course I'm tempted because you'd like to think that you could solve at least some of the problem if you couldn't solve all of it. But here's the problem. What you've seen are bills that come up wherever Republicans. What you've seen are bills that come up wherever Republicans. If there's no political heat, if there's no television story on it, then nothing happens. And if we do some sort of shotgun approach like that, then you'll have some programs that are highly visible get funded and reopened, like national monuments, but things that don't get a lot of attention, like those SBA loans, not being funded.
Okay, that really doesn't answer the question, does it? So you could fund Head Start, you could fund, the high-profile things, the kids with cancer, which you didn't mention, the NIH, other things that you support that you want funded that are very serious, but because less popular, not getting as much publicity programs wouldn't be funded, you rather not have anything funded. Gee, that sounds smart, but here comes the chutzpah. Here's cut number, 10 or whatever.
We don't get to select which programs we implement or not. There are a whole bunch of things that the Republicans have said are law that we have to do, and I don't get a chance to go back and say, you know what, this cockamamie idea that this Republican congressman came up with, I really don't like, so let's not implement that. Once you have a budget and a government with a set of functions, you make sure that it's all operating. We don't get to pick and choose based on which party likes what.
My God! Let me repeat that because I don't say it lightly. My God! All he does is pick and choose. Is he kidding? You don't get to pick. I don't get to pick and choose what I enforce. Let's say the Republicans pass a law and I don't like it, some cockamamie Republican. I don't get to pick and choose. Folks, how many shows have we done with how many constitutional experts and political experts That's what this guy does, unconstitutionally, against the law in the minds of many, many. He decides the DREAM Act, who to deport, who not to deport, what laws to enforce on immigration, what laws not to enforce on immigration, federal sentencing guidelines. They're rigging it so those won't be applicable anymore. The health care bill, giving the 1-year delay on the mandate to businesses and other, Obama favorites. That's all he does is pick and choose which parts of which laws to follow and which parts of which laws not to follow. And then he has the nerve, the chutzpah. I still don't have my voice 100%, so I'm sorry. To say what he just said. Can we play that cut again? Can we play that cut again? This is the epitome. With a straight face, he says this. No, I don't get to pick and choose because I don't like a law or part of a law. I can't. That's all he does. Here it is.
We don't get to select which programs we implement or not. We don't get to select which programs we implement or not. Say, you know what, this cockamamie idea that this Republican congressman came up with, I really don't like, so let's not implement that. Once you have a budget and a government with a set of functions, you make sure that it's all operating. We don't get to pick and choose based on which party likes what.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I need a break. I need a break. I mean, that is just mind-boggling that he would stand there and say that. And you think a journalist would try to say, Mr. President, immigration bill, DREAM Act, health care, just to name 3. You pick and choose all the time, Mr. President. Federal sentencing, you pick and choose all the time. What's the use? We don't have a media. We don't have journalists anymore. All right, we're coming back. Senator Lee joins us, and right here, he'll join us right here, I say, on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD-IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C.-based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting.
Who is LigNet?
LigNet staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee Peter Hoekstra also joined our advisory board staff.
What is LignNet's mission?
Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LignNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events.
What are the benefits of joining LignNet?
There are many. Every day, LignNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LignNet's assessments. LignNet members receive unrestricted access to LignNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. LignNet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LignNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LignNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join LignNet for $1. Go to lignet.com/radio.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Aww. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And once again, we are honored to be joined by Utah Republican Senator Mike Lee. Hello, Senator.
Hello.
It's a pleasure to speak to you again, sir. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Oh, it's great to be with you.
Well, I appreciate that. Okay, right now the president is meeting with Democratic leaders, and I'm seeing on the crawl on CNN that tomorrow he will meet with Republican leadership. How do you see this unfolding from here as we live day by day, I guess?
You know, this one's really difficult to predict. It's encouraging, I suppose, that the president's reaching out, that he wants to talk. I hope he actually does want to negotiate and compromise at this point, because so far he hasn't. So far he's been the head of the party of Obamacare, which has been intent on shutting the government down and keeping it shut down unless they can get Congress to fully fund Obamacare's implementation. And what I've been saying is I'm not willing to do that because Obamacare is hurting a lot of people, and it's going to hurt a lot more people if it takes full effect.
All right. Now, the president's approval rating is down to 37% in the AP poll today. And while it's true that Republicans, when they ask who do you blame, are up there in the 60s, Democrats are up there in the high 50s, and the president's up there in the blame game in the 50s also. So despite media coverage and slant that you couldn't buy, it's not working out, I guess, the way the Democrats and the president thought it might.
That's right. They live in a new age. They're discovering that a shutdown in the information age is not a shutdown that will always automatically be blamed entirely on Republicans. We have more than just ABC, NBC, and CBS communicating news and information to Americans now. We've got the entire Twitter, Facebook, political blog establishment that feeds people with information that they previously couldn't get and couldn't get nearly as fast or nearly as completely. And this is changing the dynamics. The other thing that's changing the dynamics is the fact that the facts are not on the president's side. The American people don't like Obamacare, and the American people don't appreciate the president's conduct so far in the shutdown, where he's using the immense power of the federal government to hurt people so as to force his political will on an unwilling electorate. That's not going to make him any more popular. Quite to the contrary, it'll make him steadily less popular.
I want to get to the what he did yesterday by opening the mall to the immigration rally, but keeping everything else closed, and the military families in 1 second. But Paul Ryan wrote a piece in the Wall Street Journal today, kind of his vision of a way out, and that would be that the president would agree to tackle tax reform and entitlements reform. He did not mention mention, obvious by its absence, was Obamacare or Affordable Care Act in that op-ed. But he has since said that Obamacare is an entitlement, just like any other entitlement. So as far as he's concerned, it's in the conversation. What do you make of Ryan's proposal in the Journal, if you saw it, or his effort in general?
First of all, I agree that Obamacare is an entitlement. It's a massive new entitlement program, and it's not yet in as an entitlement. It's a massive new entitlement program, and it's not yet in meaningful entitlement reform in connection with the continuing resolution discussion is to defund Obamacare, and that's what I'm going to meaningful entitlement reform in connection with the continuing resolution discussion is to defund Obamacare, and that's what I'm going to
House is sent over to the Senate. Don't include defunding Obamacare anymore. The latest one, I think, or the latest couple, just asked for the delay in the individual mandate for 1 year, and I think I still assume the tax on the medical device tax, but they're not asking to defund the entire Obamacare package anymore. So would anything short of that be good enough for you personally?
Well, the first two they sent over did defund it, and I support those. And the more recent
personally,
well, the first two they sent over did defund it, and I support those. And the more recent non-controversial aspects of government, those that have no connection whatsoever to Obamacare, fully funded, and I support that approach, and I think that's the approach we ought to continue to follow.
Now, when the president yesterday said, I just played a bite with him at the press conference with Mark Knoller, said, why don't you fund, the NIH, and why don't you fund and National Institute of Health, of course, and why don't you fund keeping the monuments open and Head Start? The Republicans in the House have passed all this. Why don't you have the Senate pass it and sign it? And he said, and I could play for we don't get to pick and choose. If I don't like a law, or I don't get to pick and choose, man, that's all he does on law after law, whether it's immigration, whether it's on health care itself. I mean, this president has picked and choose, if you will, what parts of a law to enforce, what parts not to enforce. He's done it against the Constitution, and there he's standing and saying, I don't get to pick and choose.
Well, that's right. The problem with that statement is that it's just 180 degrees opposite of the truth. He picks and chooses all the time. He's rewritten Obamacare many, many times, choosing not to enforce this provision or that, choosing to grant this waiver or that waiver. And the fact is, there are all kinds of programs that are authorized by Congress that are never funded by Congress. There are lots of other programs that are authorized and then initially funded by Congress that are later defunded. Take, for example, Yucca Mountain, our nuclear waste depository. Legally, our nuclear waste depository is in Yucca Mountain, Nevada. But for several years, under the leadership of Harry Reid, Congress has been defunding that program. It hasn't been funded. This is not unusual. In fact, this kind of thing happens all the time. It's just that Democrats are now saying that for some reason, when there's a law that they like, a law that creates a massive new entitlement program and a law that is going to cause many, many people to lose their jobs or their health coverage or have their wages cut or their hours slashed, they're willing to say that that law is somehow sacrosanct, even when the president himself refuses to follow that law, even when the president himself acknowledges that law is not ready.
We're talking to Senator Mike Lee here on the Steve Malzberg Show. What about for instance, the opening of the mall for that rally yesterday? Nancy Pelosi then gets up and thanks the president on at the podium for opening up the mall for the rally and says, and I'm happy that the World War II memorial is open as well, which of course it's not.
Yeah, well, what was so disgusting about all that is that the World War II memorial doesn't even have doors to close.
Right.
They had to build doors in order to lock them. That should never have happened in the first place, but this is happening all over the country. They're shutting down federal monuments, national parks, and other U.S. government-owned property. They've even shut a married couple in Nevada has been shut out of their own home because it happens to be on federal land. They've shut down businesses that operate on federal land, saying that they don't have enough money to keep them going. Well, they're private businesses operating on federal land. There's no reason why it should take federal money to keep them running. The point is that when government gets this big, government is going to use its power for manipulative purposes. And that's the best argument yet for defunding Obamacare. We should not grant so immense and so personal a power to the federal government, because that too will ultimately be used against the people down the road.
One more for you, and you've been very generous with your time. Along those lines of inflicting pain and taking advantage of power, the president has said that I can't prioritize if we don't raise the debt ceiling. Treasury Secretary Lew also refused to say that he would prioritize, which of course is don't raise the debt ceiling. Treasury Secretary Lew also refused to say that he would prioritize, which of course is seen this circulated up on Capitol Hill, because I believe it's been circulated. Moody's Investment Services says, we believe the government would continue to pay interest and principal on its debt, even in the event that the limit is not raised, leaving its creditworthiness intact. The debt limit restricts government expenditures to the amount of its incoming revenues. It does not prohibit the government from servicing its debt. There's no direct connection, it says, between the debt limit and a default. Now, having heard that and having heard what the president has said about not being able to prioritize, do you trust him that if the ceiling is not raised, that even though there would be enough money to pay the interest on the debt and also fund Social Security, pay Social Security, do you have confidence that he would do that or cause more pain?
I would hope he would do the right thing. I would hope he would not openly flout the Constitution. You see, Section 4 of the 14th Amendment states in no uncertain terms that the validity of the public debt of the United States, authorized by law, shall not be questioned. And what that means is that as the principal and interest come due on debt already incurred by the United States, it has to be paid, and it has to be paid first. And so I would hope and expect that the president, who took an oath to uphold, support, and defend the Constitution of the United States, would not openly flout that or any other provision of the Constitution. If he's suggesting otherwise, even suggesting it, he should be ashamed of himself, and he should reconsider and recant that statement immediately.
Senator, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Senator Mike Lee, ladies and gentlemen, Republican from Utah, and very, very interesting answers to very, very serious questions, of course. Okay, I know a lot of you are on hold, and I'll try to get to those calls right after our next guest, which is going to be David Bossie, President and Chairman of the Board for Citizens United. You're familiar with the Supreme Court decision on Citizens United over campaign financing a few years back, and the president actually blaming Citizens United yesterday in his press conference. We'll play you that soundbite. We'll have David Bossie react, and then we'll get to your calls. So Jim and Joe and anyone else weighing in, hang on if you can. We'll get to you in the next segment, which is in the next half hour. Very interesting, and I would hope that the president would do the right thing also. But we've seen him do the wrong thing when it comes to upholding his oath to uphold the Constitution with regard to picking and choosing which parts of laws he'll enforce and which parts he won't. That's not in the Constitution, so I have my doubts. We shall see. Hopefully it will not get to that point. 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. And you're listening to, of course, The Steve Malzberg Show right here on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. And as I mentioned to you, President Obama yesterday at his press conference taking on Citizens United, taking on the decision by the Supreme Court, as he did famously at one of his State of the Unions when he blasted the decision and prompting Justice Alito to who was sitting front and center, to shake his head no and mouth the word no after the president had criticized the decision. Are we reaching out to David? Okay. All right. Anyway, so we're going to get to David Bossie in a second. Okay. We are joined right now by the president and chairman of the board for Citizens United, Mr. David Bossie. Hey, Dave, how are you? Good to talk to you.
I am great. How you doing?
I'm fine. All right. I know you know about this, but I just want the people to hear it also. This is the president at his press conference yesterday, bringing up your fine organization. And here we go. Here's the cut. Let's give it a whirl.
Continue to believe that Citizens United contributed to some of the problems we're having in Washington right now. You have some ideological extremist who has a big bankroll, and they can entirely skew our politics. And there are a whole bunch of members of Congress right now who privately will tell you, I know our positions are unreasonable, but we're scared that if we don't go along with the Tea Party agenda or some particularly extremist agenda, that we'll be challenged from the right. And the threats are very explicit. And so they toe the line.
Yeah. Boy, first of all, this guy's got some chutzpah. But, it's all your fault, man. It's your fault. It's the Supreme Court's fault. If you didn't bring that case, they'd be singing Kumbaya right now with John Boehner.
I know they would be. And you know what? I'm so grateful that the President of the United States, just is the divider-in-chief, the hater-in-chief. He can't help himself, and he hates Citizens United. He hates our organization. He knows that we are responsible for the House of Representatives not being under Democrat control, or being one of the groups that helped do that. But, he wants to have full, total control. He wants to have absolute power. And he looks at the House and he sees the House of Representatives not being under his control, not being ruled by Nancy Pelosi and him, and he resents it. And look what he's doing with, the government shutdown right now. I mean, he's just such a small man. He is somebody who's trying to make this as painful as possible on the American people. And I mean, look, they're closing the parking lot at Mount Vernon. Now, the ladies of Mount Vernon own Mount Vernon. They just don't own the parking lot next door because it's on federal property. So they close the parking lot so they can't have any visitors to George Washington's home. They close the pull-off to look at Mount Rushmore. They close the Blue Ridge Parkway entrance to a private hotel because it's on federal land and he leases. I mean, they are trying to make this as painful as possible. They close open-air memorials in Washington, D.C. And the reason that I recount all those things, and the reason that I believe that he is such an evil person, is it's insidious in its nature, is that if Barack Obama gets his way with Obamacare, and I want everybody to understand this and think about this for a second, but if he's willing to do this and inflict this much pain on the American people when it comes down to things that he can control, like the government shutdown, if he controls your health care, if the federal government controls your health care, what's to stop them from ceasing to give you your health care? And so that is a message that we need to be taking to the American people, that we have philosophical differences. We believe in a smaller, more efficient government. They believe in a big government. Well, a big government gets these types of problems. If we return some of these federal lands to state control, guess what? We wouldn't, maybe Mount Rushmore, where the governor's already irritated enough that they closed what he considers state-run highways, not federal highways, we don't understand what they're going to do with your chemotherapy, with your drugs that you need to control your diabetes. What are they going to do if they have total control of your health care? Those are very serious questions.
Right, and Dave, those were addressed in the so-called death panels. I had Tom Daschle on my show at WOR when I was still there years ago. He wrote a book. He didn't know what he was getting into, and he's really the architect. It's based on the British plan. He just couldn't be confirmed for Kathleen Sebelius's gig because he was too big a tax cheat, unlike Timmy Geithner, who was a smaller tax cheat. So when I asked him, I said, so what if you got an 85-year-old guy, who needs a double bypass surgery? What are you going to do? And he said, and it's not verbatim, but it's a quote. He said, well, think of other options like giving him a pill or a hospice. I said, you're going to send him to die? I said, a pill won't work because he needs to unclog his arteries, and you're going to send him to die? He said, well, you said it, I didn't. I said, no, that's what a hospice is for. So he revealed himself, and that's what their plan is.
And that is what their plan is, and that is why the American people should run. They shouldn't walk away from Obamacare. They should run away from Obamacare. They need to understand what this does and what the government takeover does. And so that's really what I think this government shutdown makes crystal clear to the American people is if the government can control all of these things that they don't need to, then what if they are controlling something that is near and dear to you, your child's, your parents' health care, your own health care? It's very frightening.
And we're talking to David Bossie, the chairman of the board and I'm going to get it right, and president of Citizens United here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I have a top all-time donors list to political parties from 1989 to 2012, okay? And certainly most of that is before the Citizens United Supreme Court case came into effect. And this is so telling, and this is why Barack Obama, if he does hate you, as you say, this is why he hates you. Because here's the top giver, 89 to 2012, $92 million by Act Blue. 99% of it given to Democrats. AFSCME, the union, 81% to Democrats. AT&T, well, they're an exception, 41 to Democrats. National Education Association, Goldman Sachs, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. You go down the list, and it's 85% plus to Democrats.
Absolutely.
So they wanted to keep that pie, cut that way, and you threw a wrench in there.
Right. I mean, look, the status quo is what they wanted. I mean, they wanted to be able to continue the domination of campaign finance of that side of the ledger because they had the unions and the union dues that hardworking Americans pay into their unions, and then they get used for political purposes, which mostly they don't agree with, I might add. So it's really an amazing thing that the Democrats have in their power, this enormous amount of wealth that is basically taken out of Americans' paychecks. So I think they absolutely wanted to keep that in check, along with the Democrat Party, along with the George Soroses, the MoveOn.orgs of the world, where they had a one-sided game, and we were losing. And so what we said is, look, enough's enough. We're gonna have to stand up for our First Amendment rights, and that's when we won. He attacked us and the Supreme Court famously in his State of the Union address.
I was talking about that while we were getting you on the phone. Yeah, and Sam Alito said no.
That's right. Not true.
Not true.
Said, not true.
Yeah.
And he was berated for having done that.
Yeah, imagine that.
I mean, because of being, remember, the president is a constitutional law scholar. Remember that. Don't let him tell you.
Well, of course, no. That I don't ever recall a president, taking to task the Supreme Court in that fashion, and while they're sitting there and can't defend themselves. But the president, taking to task the Supreme Court in that fashion, and while they're sitting there and can't defend themselves. But Bossy, always a pleasure to speak to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Take care. That's David Bossy, president and chairman of the board for Citizens United, Barack Obama's best buddies. Here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Okay, we're going to get to Jim and Joe, and anybody else want to weigh in? I think David said that the president was evil. Any comments on that? Agree? Disagree? 855-777-96 was evil. Any comments on that? Agree? Disagree? 855-777-96 Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Do you have trouble remembering things you've known for years? Do you want to maintain your mental edge, support your memory, focus, and attention? After extensive research, Dr. Russell Blaylock discovered 4 essential nutrients that help sustain optimal brain function. Dr. Russell Blaylock then personally formulated Crescio, the dietary supplement containing these 4 brain boosters that promote brain cognitive health, improve learning and retention. Crescio supports brain circulation and provides antioxidant protection. And now you can receive a 30-day supply of Crescio. All you pay is a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit Crescio.com/special. Act now and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, Nature's Brain Boosters, Essential Nutrients for Peak Mental Performance. Give your brain the healthy support it needs. Learn how you can receive your 30-day supply at Crescio.com/special. That's Crescio.com/special. Crescio.com/special.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book.
Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policy to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates or low minimum payments, and before you know it, you owe thousands of dollars in credit card debt. It has happened to millions of good people just like you. But here's the good news. Thanks to a powerful program now approved, anyone with $2,000 or more just like you. But here's the good news. Thanks to a powerful program now approved, anyone with $2,000 or more altogether. That's right. Our nationwide nonprofit program is helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payments altogether. That's right. Our nationwide nonprofit program is helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payment. Over 500,000 people with their credit card debt. And now we can help you. Call 800-613-3159 to see how this powerful nonprofit program can work for you. Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Get free of credit card debt today. Call 800-613-3159. That's 800-613-3159. Again, 800-613-3159. 800-613-3159. Again, 800-613-3159.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, we're going to get to Jim and Joe and Marshall at 855-777-9660. You want to laugh? I could use a good laugh, so get ready to laugh, okay? This is from the Washington Post. No right-wing rag, I guess, right? Get this now. The Democratic mayor, or the mayor of Washington, D.C., who's a Democrat, and Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton, a Democrat, had a press conference. And at their press conference, they said Democrats at this critical moment have abandoned their long-held principles. Norton said it was shameful to hold the city's local funds hostage to make a federal point. But she's talking about Harry Reid. She said Democrats have abandoned their long-term held principles. Here's the deal. After their press conference, the mayor of Washington, a gentleman named Vincent C. Gray, crashed a news conference being held by the Democrats in the Senate. And he asked Harry Reid to exempt the city from the ongoing shutdown. Quote, "Sir, we are not a department of the government," Gray told Reed moments after the mayor concluded his own press event. "We're simply trying to be able to spend our own money." Harry Reid, after they woke him up, shook him a little bit, said, "I'm on your side. Don't screw it up, okay? Don't screw it up." I don't know what that means. In other words, shut your mouth. There are cameras here. Shut your mouth. Someone might hear you. Someone might hear you complain as a Democrat, as the mayor of Washington, D.C., complaining to me. Now, here's why he's complaining. Ladies and gentlemen, the Republican-controlled House, one of these bills they passed, like to fund the NIH for kids with cancer and fund the veterans' benefits and fund open the monuments in the parks. They've sent all these bills over to the Senate. So all the Senate has to do is pass them, and then the president has to sign them. And then all the funding for these departments will be funded. They'll reopen. Well, one of those bills that the House also passed would fund Washington, D.C. $144 million. Oh, that's what they've used. Okay. So one of the bills would allow the District of D.C. to use its locally raised tax funds to remain in operation through December 15th. But Harry Reid won't vote on that. And the president has said he won't sign that. So the Democratic mayor of Washington, D.C., and Eleanor Holmes Norton said, "This is ridiculous." So the mayor goes up and confronts Harry Reid and says, "Sir, we're not a part of your federal government. Give us our money. Let us use our own money." "Don't screw it up. I'm on your side. Don't screw it up." That's his answer. So cracks in the armor of the Democratic position. Can you imagine if a mother of a kid with cancer who needed the experimental treatment from the NIH crashed Harry Reid's press conference and said, Senator, reopen the NIH or my son could die. What's he going to say to her? "I'm on your side. Don't screw it up." This guy is a piece of work. The Democrats' position, not even addressing. They talk about how, if John Boehner would just put it for a clean resolution on the floor for a vote. How about if Harry Reid put kids with cancer on the floor for a vote? Or veterans' benefits on the floor for a vote? Or Washington, D.C.'s money on the floor for a vote? You think senators would actually vote no? Give me a break. This double standard in the media, this double standard with the Democrats, with Obama, it's insane. All right, to the phones. Jim is calling. Hello, Jim. You're on the Steve Malzberg Show.
Hey, Steve. How you doing today?
Good. Thanks for calling, sir.
I enjoy your show here. I'm one of your truck driver listeners.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And I'm running through Comrade Mitch McConnell's territory right now.
Oh, okay. Kentucky, yeah.
Yeah, up there at Louisville. But what I was calling about was about an hour or so ago, you'd given Comrade Hussein Obama credit for having a 3-star credit rating. And if I'm not mistaken, we're first time ever in history it has dropped to at least 2.5.
I thought
possibly.
I know you're right that it did drop, and I got to tell you, when I read the story from Moody's, it said in the story AAA rating, and it did strike me that maybe we had gone down. I don't know if we came back or not, but the story did say triple. I will double check that during the next break.
Well, I just didn't want that.
I wasn't giving Obama credit no matter what, but
if it's AAA, he's got his credit back.
It says here
he's the only one that lost it in history.
It says preserving the nation's sterling AAA credit rating. That's interesting. We're gonna have to check that out. That's a good question. I will check it out. I thank you very much, Jim.
Yes,
Keep
sir.
on trucking. Drive safely. Let's go to Joe down in Florida. Whereabouts in Florida, Joe?
Steve, I really enjoy your show.
Thank you. Are you listening on WFTL?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Go ahead, sir.
Steve, I'm currently retired, 27 years with the county. The trickling down effect that this government shutdown, I want to talk about. We filed our income tax last year, and we're subject to income tax fraud. Somebody stole my Social Security number. IRS has 6 months to process it, and we were counting on that refund. Now I currently call every week to find out what the status is, and we were just now getting close to receiving the money that was due to us, which we wanted to use for house improvement because we just bought a home.
Mm-hmm.
But now with this government shutdown, it's just going to delay it even further. And I just can't see why the two parties just can't agree, because this does affect a lot of people, Steve.
Well, no, I mean, look, you're obviously, as they say, and I don't mean this in a flippant way, you're a victim of circumstance, and it's
Right.
I feel bad for you, absolutely, and you're right. But again, traditionally, if you look at how this is done traditionally, the president meets with the speaker, the parties meet, they discuss. It's unprecedented for a president to say, I will not discuss, I will not negotiate with these arsonists, these hostage takers, these kidnappers with the gun to my head. If they give me what I want and pass this and pass that, then I'll sit down and talk with them. So, I mean, I don't see how the blame could be put anywhere else. All the Republicans are asking for now is, delay the individual mandate for a year the way you delayed the business's mandate and gave some special, and take away the medical device tax. That's all they're asking for. And Obama won't even sit down with them.
I don't see where that's being unreasonable, but I didn't vote for the guy the first time. I didn't vote for him the second.
All right. Well, listen,
Thank you.
My heart does go out to you, and I'm sorry you're in that situation, but I'm sure they'll get back soon. Believe me. Thank you very much, Joe. Let's go to who's allowed? We got a minute to go to Marcia. Hello, Marshall.
Marshall,
yes, not
Steve,
Marshall.
long-time
Go ahead.
Mr. Obama has been a long-time Muslim.
Okay.
He has an agenda to destroy the U.S., turn us into Castro's Cuba, Venezuela, and Hitler's Germany. He's a socialist communist, as was his father and grandfather, according to his two books, which I have right in front of me. His hero was Franklin Davis Marshall and Saul Alinsky. He told us on national TV he's a Muslim.
Well, no. He didn't tell. Okay. You see,
My wife has it on the...
All right, but what your problem is what you said about Franklin Davis Marshall and Saul Alinsky is absolutely true. If you say that he admired Hugo Chavez to a great extent, I will agree with you with that. But when you say he's a Muslim, what he said on TV, he took back immediately. He didn't say that. It was a mistake. He's not a Muslim. He says he's a Christian, so he's a Christian.
I got it on tape here.
I understand. So do I. But that's not legit. It's not new. It's not worthy of where you're going with these facts that you have. I thank you for the call, Marshall. Call me again. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show. Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD-IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now.
800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Congress and President Obama continue to bicker over who is to blame for the government shutdown. And then there's this. The Pentagon says it cannot give financial assistance to relatives of soldiers killed in combat during this shutdown. Well, today, the remains of 4 fallen Americans arrived at Dover Air Force Base. Families of U.S. servicemen and women killed on active duty normally get $100,000 for travel and funeral expenses, but that money is cut off now because of this budget deadlock in Congress. Private groups are paying the expenses for these grieving families, and House Republicans are expected to vote today on a measure to restore those funds. But at a hearing this morning, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs said a total of more than $6 billion in veterans payments could be in jeopardy.
If the shutdown does not end in the coming weeks, VA will not be able to assure delivery of 1 November checks to more than 5.18 million beneficiaries.
Meanwhile, both sides remain dug in. Republicans are insisting on negotiating changes to the new health care law before passing any kind of funding bill. And Democrats and President Obama say any talks must come later. If Congress does not agree to a deal to increase the nation's debt limit before October 17th, the government will run out of money to pay its bills. Turning now to Egypt, where violence between supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi and the military continues to get worse. And there are new reports now that the White House is planning on rolling back U.S. financial and military aid to the country. That move is in response to the military coup that removed Morsi from office and the fighting that has followed. However, there is expected to be continued support for the military's counterterrorism efforts in the Sinai Peninsula, also continued aid to ensure that Egypt upholds its peace treaty with Israel, and more non-military aid to support the promotion of democracy. Meanwhile, back in D.C., President Obama announces today that he is nominating Janet Yellen to be the next head of the Federal Reserve. As vice chair of the central bank under current chair Ben Bernanke, Yellen has supported policies to keep interest rates low. Analysts say her nomination could also help ease concerns over the debt ceiling debate in Washington. And police have arrested 2 more people in the case of that motorcycle road rage incident in New York City, and that includes an NYPD undercover detective. Investigators say that undercover detective was off duty. His name is Wojciech Brezkov. He's a 10-year veteran of the NYPD. Yesterday, he surrendered and now faces riot and criminal mischief charges. Investigators also say they now have video of him pounding on the SUV as other motorcyclists beat up the driver. Brazikov's attorney says his client only witnessed other bikers attacking that vehicle. Sources say other New York City police officers may have been riding with that pack of motorcyclists as well. And coming up next, a Newsmax exclusive with Republican Congresswoman Lynn Jenkins, why she says ending the stalemate in Washington is entirely up to President Obama and Democrats. Plus, a store clerk takes matters into his own hands when a robber tries to hold him up. See what happens next when this clerk whips out his machete.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
And welcome back. Check out this video recently released by police in Suffolk County, New York. A robber walks into a convenience store with a gun, but the clerk isn't having it. He pulls out a machete and then goes after the crook, chasing him off. This actually happened back in 2011, but police are now asking for help trying to identify this robber, who may be connected to more recent incidents in that same area. And as the government shutdown continues, the federal debt limit approaches, and some are calling that a more pressing matter. But during a Newsmax exclusive, Congresswoman Lynn Jenkins says even with the debate, or the deadline rather, approaching, Democrats still won't play ball.
Right now, as I said, it's not the time that's the problem. It's the fact that no one will sit down and have a conversation with us about how we move forward to solve this nation's fiscal mess.
Well, this has been your Newsmax Now update for October the 9th. I'm John Bachman. Take care.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
My patience.
Gentlemen, my patience are being tried. I can tell you that. All right, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Joining us now, as he does most every week at this time, usually. Definitely, he's always here. Sometimes, usually. No, sometimes the time changes, of course, but we always appreciate the time of our next guest, Washington Times columnist Charles Hurt. Hello, sir.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me as always.
Well, it's my pleasure as always. So your piece today, Obama and Boehner agree on one thing, giving the shaft to Americans. All right, see, just now I read the story, and we'll talk about the story, but I think it was 2 weeks ago we disagreed a little bit on the column on Ted Cruz. I got to say that, to me, Obama is out to inflict pain, and Boehner really isn't.
Yeah, no, I think that absolutely is true. All of these horror stories we've seen with the National Park Service and the non-payment of the families of our fallen soldiers overseas. The idea that the Pentagon would not pay those families immediately in timely fashion as they're directed to by Congress. All of these things are up to the discretion of President Obama. He could, and the other thing about the Park Service that I find most offensive is the notion that somehow the federal government owns this parkland around the country and invites us to come and play on their land, when that is not at all the relationship. You and I own that land, and we have tasked the federal government with maintaining it. And when they fall on their face and simply can't carry out their basic duties, they have no right to tell us we can't then go out on that land.
No, I couldn't agree with you more on what's taking place. What took place, I mean, I'm sure you heard this, but listen to Nancy Pelosi yesterday at that illegal alien rally, which unfortunately was attended by at least one Republican congresswoman that I know of as well. But here she had the nerve to get up there and thank the president for opening up the mall for them, but then made a false statement at the end as well. Here's the cut.
I want to join my colleague who thank the president for enabling us to gather here, and also thank the president that the veterans were able to gather at World War II Memorial.
I mean, that's a lie. That's closed.
The total lie, absolute total lie. And across the country, the number of people who have been denied access to national parks, have been ticketed, have been harassed by park rangers. And to me, the most offensive is these great men who stormed the beaches of Normandy, and so that we could be free today, that they were actually blocked from going to the World War II memorial. She is absolutely lying, which of course I guess shouldn't come as that much of a surprise. But the idea that she would thank the president to rally for illegal aliens on the National Mall, which and where was INS? Why was INS not parked right outside the rally, just rounding people up? I don't get that.
Well, we don't do that in this country, and all right, I'll tell you why. Here's another thing, and this speaks to the next cut. Can we play that Obama cut? Here's Mark Knoller. He's not here, but here's Obama answering a Mark Knoller question about yesterday at the press conference, and the question was, why don't you just sign these what you call piecemeal bills that the House is passing, let the Senate pass it, and then sign it so you could fund the veterans, you could fund various the National Institute of Health, etc. Here's what he said.
We don't get to select which programs we implement or not. There are a whole bunch of things that the Republicans have said are law that we have to do, and I don't get a chance to go back and say, you know what, this cockamamie idea that this Republican congressman came up with, I really don't like, so let's not implement that. Once you have a budget and a government with a set of functions, you make sure that it's all operating. We don't get to pick and choose based on which party likes what.
Okay, you talk about liars? That's all he. I just played. I had Senator Lee on before. I mean, that's all this guy does is pick and choose on immigration laws. Which parts of the laws to enforce on Obamacare, on the DREAM Act. I mean, this guy. That's all he does.
And the amazing thing about that, Steve, is that he is fundamentally mistaken about what the Constitution. How the Constitution lays out the powers. He is exactly right in that he cannot pick and choose. He does not have that right. He is the head of the executive branch.
But he does it anyway, yeah.
But he does it anyway. Where he is absolutely dead wrong, and it proves that I honestly do not think he has read the Constitution. The Constitution lays out that Congress does have that authority. That is what Congress does. It holds the purse strings of the government. It says what shall be funded and what shall not be funded. And the idea that he can sit down there and just dismiss and say that he's not going to negotiate with Congress on on these budget issues is just mind-blowing, because of course that is the only purpose that is the most important purpose of the U.S. Congress, is they determine what we spend, how your and my tax dollars get spent, and then they direct him as the executive to go spend it that way.
Well, you know what he's doing? He's lying. I mean, blatantly lying, like his Treasury Secretary when Chris Wallace on Sunday said to him, let me give you a history here. The president says they played a clip of Obama saying it's never been done before, where the raising the debt ceiling is tied to other issues. And Wallace went down the list, the number of times, the issues involved, and Jack Lew comes back and says basically that the sky is blue and as green and the grass is blue. He says, I don't think you have your history right, Chris. I mean, what? He just told you what the history was. You know what they're doing? This is what if you read Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, I hate to say this, this is it. This is the disinformation. And they know they'll get away with it because the media doesn't take them to task on these obvious lies.
Because the media doesn't take them to task on it, and because most Americans are too civilized and too decent and honest to actually engage in this kind of nonsense, because when somebody says something that black and white, you assume that they're not just making it up.
Right.
But we have reached a whole new level of uncivility or incivility, whatever the word is, that I don't feel like I've ever seen before. We had the sitting president of the United States yesterday in the White House saying that the people who opposed his political position were arsonists, kidnappers. We've heard language about terrorists, people holding guns to people's heads. all because they held a different political position, a political position that he himself held just a few years ago.
In 2006, yeah.
Yes. And the notion that is where, I mean, and can you imagine if President George W. Bush, at the height of the Gulf War, had come out, or the war in Iraq, had come out and attacked those decent Americans who were opposed to the war in Iraq, and attacked them and said that they wanted to hurt America, that they were terrorists.
No, Charles, here's what he did do. He called 3 terrorist nations the axis of evil, and they took them to task for that.
Yes, exactly. And yet now we have this whole new, and the idea of impugning the integrity of massive swaths of millions of voters, the Tea Party people. The idea that they're that he thinks he can actually run them down and denigrate them, and he does, and he needs to defeat them. And that he no longer, because that he's not their president too, it's just a shocking arrogance and a disregard for the Constitution and what America stands for.
We're talking to Charles Hurt, the great columnist for the Washington Times, here on the Steve Malzberg Show, as we do each week. But you know what? That's who he is. I mean, he's not running for any election that we know of anymore. So now it doesn't matter anymore. He doesn't have to play the game. He doesn't have to even try to make believe that he's the great uniter. He could just go around as he did in his first term, but now he could just be what he really is, which is the great divider.
Yeah, but Steve, and that is the heart of this entire thing. I think with him is that he is no longer. This is no longer politics to him in any sort of.
It's personal,
way.
Right?
It's personal, and he wants to destroy John Boehner. He wants to destroy the Republican caucus in Congress. He despises the House, and he just wants to do everything he can. He's just going in there, slashing and cutting, and trying to cause as much trouble as he can in there to make their lives miserable. And because if he doesn't do that now, then his power every day he wakes up, he will wake up with less power than he had the day before.
It takes me to, I'm watching CNN now, and they got the thing on the scroll, taking a beating in the polls. GOP gets the worst of the shutdown fallout. Meanwhile, it's very close. The Democrats could never have predicted this. But here's another thing. Obama's approval rating is 37%, according to the AP's latest poll. So the story they put out today, and I'm sure you know this by now, the story they put out today is GOP takes a beating in the polls, and in the 7th paragraph, they put that Obama's approval rating is down to 37%. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, that's the media, but obviously, because of people like you and people that like the Drudge Report and Breitbart and all these other conservative voices that are out there today that weren't around in '95. I do believe that at least there is some chance of sort of getting a little bit more fair treatment right now. But of course, in the mainstream media, it's just as despicable as ever. But also, with these polls that show Congress getting a beating, of course, if you took a poll inside Congress would get a beating in a poll. They're utterly meaningless. The truth of the matter is that the Republicans can go back home and they can say, I voted 1,000 times to keep the government running.
Right.
And make a great argument about that, and how Harry Reid and Democrats simply refuse to allow votes to come up to keep the government running.
Well, here's another one. That's another one. How many times have you heard, why doesn't John Boehner just allow a vote from the whole House on a clean CR, and I'm sure it'll pass? Well, why doesn't Harry Reid bring up any one of the continuing resolutions that have been passed by the House that would fund Kids for Cancer, fund the veterans benefits, open the parks? Why doesn't he let them vote? I've never once heard the president, obviously, but even the media say, why doesn't Reid allow votes on that? You think Democrats are going to vote against funding the NIH with kids with cancer? Absolutely not.
And did you see today Harry Reid was having a press conference?
Wow, that's what I was going to bring up. I'm holding it in my hands. The mayor of D.C., we talked about this earlier, the mayor of D.C., Vincent Gray, crashed Reid's press conference and said, sir, we're not a department of the government. We're simply trying to be able to spend our own money. And Reid says, I'm on your side. Don't screw it up.
He It sounds great not to screw it up.
First, I got to wake Harry Reid up, shake him a little bit, and then he said that.
Yeah. But this is a bill that House Republicans easily passed in the chamber to allow the D.C. government to continue governing, to continue running because of the weird nature of the federal city. It must get actual permission to spend the tax dollars that it generates on its own.
It's their own money, and Harry Reid has it within his power to bring it up and let it. The Republicans pass it in the House, bring it up, fund D.C. and their government, and he won't do it.
Yep, and even Eleanor Holmes Norton, the non-voting House member, clearly a Democrat, as you might imagine.
Yes,
was over there as well, kind of haranguing him. And what did Harry Reid say? Don't screw it up.
Don't screw it up. She said Democrats at this critical moment, this was at their press conference, which was 50 feet away, have abandoned their long-held principles, calling it shameful to hold the city's local funds, get this, hostage to make federal points. And Reid says, "Don't screw it up. I'm on your side." This guy, and it is unfathomable. I don't even know what to say. And as you write about in your column today at the Washington Times, we're out of time almost, but we got about a minute. These federal workers who have been furloughed, they're on vacation because they're getting back pay when it's over.
Yeah, it's just absolutely mind-boggling. And think about the poor federal workers who didn't get furloughed, who are still at their jobs, knowing that all these guys that have been out mostly around at home all week are going to come back, and then they're going to still get paid for it.
It's insane. Charles, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Take care. Charlie Hurt, ladies and gentlemen, columnist, Washington Times. Yeah, I mean, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. They should just get computerized robots, put them on CNN, the viciousness. It's the viciousness of an Ashley Banfield, of a Gloria Borger, of these people whose true colors are coming out, how they just attack Republicans and blame Republicans and indict Republicans. And they're so happy Republicans are suffering them. And, hey, so why don't you at least say, and Harry Reid should really bring up for a vote in the Senate, the bills that have been passed in the House that would fund vital things such as veteran services and kids with cancer services and all that. No, I've never heard it once. It's only, why doesn't John Boehner bring it up in the House? Well, they've passed things in the House. Why doesn't Reid bring it up in the Senate? Nope. Oop, shh, quiet. Let's see how much play this story of the Washington, D.C. mayor demanding from Harry Reid that he bring up for a vote and pass the right for D.C. to spend their own money. All right, we're coming back. Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54, with a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some, once a Democrat, then a Republican, a champion of smaller government whose own government grew, a fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th birthday commemorative edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax magazine every month.
Sure, Steve might be a bit of a hypochondriac, but he never gets sick of breaking news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call Steve at 1-855-777-9660. That's 1-855-777-9660. Here's Steve.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. When we come back from the break, we're going to be joined by America's psychologist, Dr. Jeffrey Gardier. The doc is going to be talking about, I saw him on CNN. I love talking to him because when we disagree with civility. And I saw him on CNN talking about how these furloughed government employees, we're going to have road rage incidents, we're going to have depression, we're going to have divorce. And I'm thinking, how many millions of people lost their jobs and didn't get a vacation to be paid later? We're worried about that. No offense if you're a furloughed federal employee, but come on. Anyway, so we'll talk to him about that and another exciting issue or interesting issue, which we'll get to. But, okay, the credit rating agency, Standard & Poor's, downgraded our credit rating from AAA to AA in August of 2011. But Fitch Ratings and Moody's kept us at AAA. Moody's changed our outlook to negative on June 2nd, 2011. But they kept their AAA rating, okay? That explains what I was talking about before on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV, and we're coming back, radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD-IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Roku. Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Malzberg. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Malzberg's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast, and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that would be me, and welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Joining us now is our friend, America's psychologist, Dr. Jeffrey Gardier. Hello, sir.
Steve, great to be with you as always.
Well, it's great to be with you, and I appreciate you coming on. And as I said to the folks before, I love when we disagree because we always disagree with respect and come back as friends. So before we get to something that we'll probably agree on, or you could explain to me why it happens, let me ask you. I saw you on CNN, and they were talking about the furloughed workers, the government employees who have been temporarily laid off for the government shutdown. And I viewed it as an attempt by CNN to make it worse than it is. It's no good when anybody loses their source of income. But you started talking about how we could expect some people to exhibit road rage, maybe marital problems. I don't know if you said alcohol problems, but I mean these people know that this is temporary, and now they even know that they're going to get back pay when they get back.
Yeah, that's true, but it still doesn't erase the emotions that they're having right now. I think something that both you and I agree on, it's not about who may be causing this issue in Washington. It's how are the people perceiving it. And we have, I think, a larger percentage of people who are blaming the Republicans, but the president's ratings have dropped to the floor because of this also. So they're really looking at the Washington politicians as being the cause of they're not working. The common man and woman not working, not getting a paycheck right now. They need to pay bills right now. And yet the politicians who've caused this or a part of it are still getting their paychecks and taking care of their lovely homes.
No, look, I'm not, I am not saying that that it's not a hardship. It certainly is a hardship. But, and I guess I was more upset with CNN and the angle they were taking, and I guess what you say is true. I mean, if those who are affected that live paycheck to paycheck, you know better than me what they could turn to, and I'm sure they'd be more irritable, and I'm sure that could translate to irritability on the road and road rage. It could translate to irritability at home and marital disputes. It could translate to, God forbid, something worse if you can't control your emotions. But what gets me is I don't recall CNN having you on to talk about, maybe I'm wrong, to talk about, because I don't watch it 24/7, to talk about, for instance, the millions and millions and millions of people who are, unemployed, long-term unemployed, giving up looking for work, settling for part-time jobs, losing their benefits, having their hours cut to 30 from 40 for healthcare reasons. I mean, I didn't see their concern over the years for them. I just see it for these guys. I mean, have you ever been on with them to talk about those people?
Well, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I do so many of those appearances, and as you know, I talk about so many different factors from the psychological point of view. So, I understand that the point that you're making, that it sounds a bit disingenuous and maybe even bipartisan. But that being said, the pain out there is real for people. They feel betrayed by their government, and they are angry. And it's bringing out a fringe of people who have mental health issues. Look at the guy who burned himself to death in the Capitol. Look at the woman who had postpartum psychosis, who was shot by the Capitol Police and Secret Service. So this is something that is affecting the common day Americans, and this whole idea that we may have the debt ceiling crisis now, which may cause even more pain. I think people are fed up, Steve, and if they already have some pre-existing issues with anger or depression, it's only making it worse.
So interesting. So do you believe that, although, I don't know if you've heard, I mean, I have followed the incident with the female driver who was shot pretty closely. I haven't heard much more about the man who set himself on fire other than he set himself on fire. But do you have any reason, do you have any direct knowledge that there is a link between them committing their acts during the government shutdown?
Well, we don't know much about this guy who set himself on fire or whether there are pre-existing mental health issues, but I can certainly tell you, and you don't need a PhD on this one, even if it was a political act, you better believe it's someone who's unstable, who's going to burn himself to death like that. I mean, I'd love to make some of those points, as far as being outraged, but I'm not going to go that far. Look, bottom line is that when people have delusions and paranoia and so on, the major issues of the day become part of their delusional thinking. And so I think that's why you see some people acting out, because this is major, major news. People who are not working, or where they see that their government is melting down, and watching all sorts of news shows, whether it's Fox or CNN or MSNBC, talking about if this debt ceiling situation now, this new crisis, is not taken care of, there's going to be global instability. People watch the news, they believe it, and you know what? It does disturb them.
Oh, no. Well, look, I got to tell you, I mean, who was I speaking to yesterday? I think Senator Rick Santorum, I was saying, how scared do you think I should be, for my own 401k, which I made the point to say is not humongous, unfortunately, and for my son's 529 college fund, which is not humongous, and I think Americans all over the place feel that way. Having said that, of course, the media has a responsibility to tell the truth, and we got a note from Moody's today saying there's no reason that the government couldn't pay their debt. the interest on the debt. If they don't raise the debt ceiling, they'll have enough money coming in for that. They'll have enough money coming in to pay Social Security, Medicaid. It's just you got to prioritize. But the president has said, I'm not going to prioritize. You can't do that, which is nonsense. But it's all part of inflicting pain on people. And I think when the president, you may not want to get partisan, but when the Democrats don't take up the bill that the House passed to open the National Institute of Health so kids with cancer could get treatment, to pay veterans benefits so veterans could be taken care of, to fund D.C. so they could run their city. That's all laying on the Senate floor right now, waiting for them to vote on it, and they won't do it. So people get scared.
Yeah, people do get scared, but I think they also get scared, Steve, at the fact that there isn't a clean spending bill, that every time a crisis comes up now, that folks are just now partially funding this, partially funding that. Look, I totally get it when you say, well, maybe we can go ahead and pay bills and we can prioritize even if we don't raise the
debt ceiling. Yeah.
But the bottom line is that it is about perception. And other countries, foreign countries, look at us as being in disarray and being weak, and we're doing something that may be considered unprecedented, and it's going to affect them. And people watch the news, they listen to this, and if they're depressed, if they have issues with anxiety, if they're not paying their day-to-day bills, even if they're still working, they're not federal workers, they're working for private companies, they know that this is a sign of something that is not good and that the country's not headed in the right direction. And we've seen this before. People act out when this happens. I'm seeing a lot of people with rage, the road rage, the biker incident, all sorts of issues.
But you don't think the biker incident could possibly have anything to do? You think these guys are upset that the government isn't getting along?
No, I think what is happening is that people are losing their tempers. They're not as mentally stable as they used to be, and all of that has to do with our economy.
All right, that's an interesting take on it. Okay, now we're talking to Dr. Jeffrey Gardier, the man who goes by the moniker of America's psychologist.
And I love America. Don't get me started.
Why would I doubt that? I'm not doubting that. All right, now this is crazy, and I don't know. Tell me how symptomatic this is of our times, and maybe you could attribute it to something that I can't figure out. In Kentucky's athletic sanctioning body has ordered high schools in the state of Kentucky to not to conduct post-game handshakes in all sports following more than 24 physical confrontations in the past 3 years. Now, kids, unlike in the pro sports where it's only done in hockey at the end of the playoff series. I think that's the only sport that actually lines up and has a handshake. High school sports, even lower level sports, at least where my son has been playing forever, after every game you line up, no matter what the sport, and the two teams shake hands. But in Kentucky, it's leading to fights. The handshaking in the lineup is leading to fights, so they're canceling the sportsmanship of the handshake. Why would these lead to fights?
Because there have been, I guess, at least a dozen fights where the football players were very, very emotional after a major loss or a major win, and they're afraid that now if they're pounding flesh, this is a situation of where someone may now take it out on someone else. I think it's ridiculous. This is the whole idea many people talk about, especially Republicans. We have too much government. I think this is a situation of where we have too big a sanctioning body. This is something that coaches need to work out with their own players and teach them sportsmanlike conduct, so we don't have to have someone laying down a rule that you guys are so damn immature, we don't even want you shaking hands after a game. I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. Luckily, the teams can either ignore it or follow through, but whatever they do, they have to stop the fighting. Again, a very aggressive world, which is so aggressive. Again, I tell you, Steve, it's about the crumbling of America. It really is.
All right. Listen, very interesting, Doc, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Always my pleasure, Steve.
All right, take care. Dr. Jeffrey Gardier, America's psychologist, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I didn't want to go in depth on that New Jersey law that has angered me and so many other people, where high school students now, high school athletes, are under the watchful eye and ear of the referee and the official. And even if the referee or the official think that they've said something inappropriate, homophobic, sexist, against someone with disability, anything improper, that they got to report them to this New Jersey Civil Rights Division. You talk about government run amok and intrusion. That is just insanity, total insanity, that a kid's whole life could be ruined because of something a referee or an umpire or an official who are now under pressure. They're charged with this duty. God forbid an athlete says something and you miss it, and then that kid goes on to, try to kill himself, or, all these thoughts get put in your head. You could be held legally responsible as a referee because you should have heard it and you didn't report it, and blah, 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 blah. So you're looking for stuff. And if you hear something that you think is offensive, that crosses the line, even maybe you're wrong as an official, you're going to report this kid. And this kid's going to say, I didn't say it. And it's going to go to the New Jersey Division of Civil Rights. With this kid, I don't know what could happen to the kids, because I had one of the organizers of this rule from the New Jersey, from the state of New Jersey, from the athletics side. I forget his title. And he couldn't tell me. I said, what's the worst case scenario? If a kid is reported to the Civil Rights Division for saying something blatantly offensive or over the line, what could they do to him at the Civil Rights Division? He didn't know. He didn't know. Yet he backed up and advocated this law, but he didn't even know what the penalty could be to this kid. So we are just out of control. Out of control. And, well, I don't even want to get into this story, because all I know is that, well, maybe another time. I don't even know what the rules are. What could a kid send online? What could a kid send on the internet? What could a kid take a picture of? I don't even know what the rules are. You think the kids know that this is separate than the high school thing? I'm talking about kids in school or kids who post things. Is there a set of rules, or is everything open to interpretation by authorities once they do it? Look, I'm against bullying. I'm against cyberbullying. I'm against, pornography going out from kids and of kids and all that stuff. But what are the rules? Kids are out there today, and they might not even mean anything by it. Sending something, posting something, taking a picture, whatever. What are the rules? I mean, is it rules? Are there laws? I mean, I don't think kids know. And their whole future could be placed in jeopardy depending on what they're doing when they hit that send button. And I just think the government, or whoever's making these rules, and it is the government, needs to explain better. I'm a father of a 14-year-old. I tell him to be careful. I point examples out to him. I say, you're saying this fooling around here in the house? Don't ever say this outside, because in today's world, you can't joke. But I'd like to see a rule, a law or a rule or something. I know there's an anti-bullying thing the school sends out, but I think there's other stuff, too, that kids have to be made aware of that they don't have a clue. It's a very dangerous world that kids are growing up in for many reasons, including the fact, as evidenced by this high school athletic rule in New Jersey and other arbitrary rules or laws that I don't know about and that kids don't know about, could affect them for the rest of their lives. If they say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, tweet the wrong thing, it's a very dangerous, scary world out there. It really is. Me? What was my biggest problem? Getting yelled at for playing ball on the grass? That was my biggest problem growing up in Brooklyn, I guess. All right, we're coming back, folks. 855-777-9660. 855-777-9660 on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare's Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family.
Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already an Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today. Go to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
A hot new book by Craig Smith argues that the greenback is now at high risk. Thanks to our spendthrift politicians, Mark Twain said the truth is stranger than fiction. The same is true of the Great Debasement, which began a century ago with the creation of the Federal Reserve and income tax. The result, today's dollar retains just 2 cents of its original buying power. Yes, progressive politicians have engineered the largest wealth confiscation in history, creating in essence a fourth branch of government. Learn what must be done to preserve your money if the dollar crashes. The good news is Swiss America is offering the Great Debasement, a $20 value free of charge for this special radio offer.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. Call Swiss America now for a free DVD. 800-818-3967.
Larry works on the construction site when he's not held up with constipation. Mary sits all day at a desk, which does little to relieve gas and bloating. You can't schedule abdominal discomfort, but you can help alleviate it with Back2Pro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Back2Pro is the fiber probiotic supplement that comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. It includes the most essential ingredients necessary to help support your healthy digestive and immune function. Experience the results. Learn how you can receive a 30-day supply of Back2Pro. Just visit back2pro.com/offer. All you cover is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Do something about your digestive health now. Get your 30-day supply at back2pro.com/offer. That's BACTIPRO.com/offer. Limited time only. Back2pro.com/offer.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream streaming. The most technology-advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
How many folks got signed up on the Obamacare? You got it right with you? Are you okay? Good.
In the past week, the president's signature achievement has become the butt of late-night jokes.
Some good news. Apparently, Obamacare does cover carpal tunnel syndrome, the result of pressing a computer trying to get through to stupid Obamacare.
No one knows how many people have managed to enroll. The administration refuses to release those numbers, but the website's launch has been nothing short of disastrous. Media outlets have struggled to find anyone who's actually been successful. The Washington Post even illustrated that sought-after person as a unicorn. USA Today called the launch an inexcusable mess and a nightmare.
All right, welcome back to the show, folks. That's Jan Crawford on CBS this morning. Doing a story on Obamacare and telling it like it is. One of the few networks that's actually being honest about all of this. Let's go to cut 32.
White House officials initially blamed the problem on unexpectedly high volume, with more than 8 million hits in the first week. But after the website went offline over the weekend for repairs, officials now are acknowledging other problems.
We've identified the glitches. We've added hardware. We're recoding software. And I can tell you today is better than yesterday, and we're hoping in the very near future to have a seamless process. That's what we're aiming for.
But computer experts say the website has major flaws.
It wasn't designed well, it wasn't implemented well, and it looks like nobody tested it.
Luke Chung's company builds online database programs. He supports the new healthcare law and says it's not demand that's crashing healthcare.gov. The entire website needs a complete overhaul.
It's not even close. It's not even ready for beta testing from my book. I would be ashamed and embarrassed if my organization delivered something like that.
All right, so there you go. CBS News and the Washington Post tells us that major insurers, state health care officials, and Democratic allies repeatedly warned the Obama administration in recent months that the new federal health insurance exchange had significant problems, according to people familiar with the conversations. Despite those warnings and intense criticism from Republicans, Dr. Obama proceeded with an October 1st launch. The White House continues to claim that all of its website problems are simply traffic-related, but there are clearly plenty of folks who think it's more than that, that it was designed poorly, as we just heard in that CBS News report. Now, let me read you something here. This is breaking. A University of Michigan graduate student says that her future has been raped by Obamacare. Ashley Dion, 26, posted this now viral letter on the website of Dennis Prager, who's a radio talk show host. She explains how she graduated from the University of Michigan in 2009, at which point she was told she was too educated and wouldn't stay at low-paying jobs. She has a series of medical conditions, and the Obamacare pushes her to a more expensive plan. She said, I have asthma, ulcers, mild cerebral palsy. Obamacare takes my monthly rate from $75 a month for full coverage on my young adult plan, from $75 to $319 a month after a $6,000 deductible. Thank you, Dr. President, Mr. Obama. Thank you so much. This is insanity. Insanity. Where's the news doing stories on this poor girl? My future has been raped, she says, by Obamacare. Her words, not mine. From $75 to $319 a month with a $6,000 deductible. Steve Malzberg Show. See you tomorrow. Thank you.